I will fight to protect you. I am your president of law and order and an ally of all peaceful protesters. But in recent days, our nation has been gripped by professional anarchists. A number of state and local governments have failed to take necessary action.
So the Insurrection Act is the largest and broadest exception to posse comitatus. It essentially allows the president to use the military or to federalize National Guards to enforce the law in certain extreme circumstances of civil unrest.
What is posse comitatus?
Posse comitatus is a Latin phrase that's used to reference when authorities enroll private citizens to enforce the law.
I've got pardons here signed by the governor for each of you. You're going to earn them first. How? Join a posse I'm leading.
So when you think of a posse in the Old West, that's related to posse comitatus. Officials are not allowed to use those forces for the purpose of enforcing the law, except where authorized by law by the Congress.
We're not going nowhere either.
There are basically three components to the Insurrection Act. The first one is that the president can send the armed forces to a state to support a state that is in peril at the state's request.
America is founded upon the rule of law. It is the foundation of our prosperity, our freedom.
The second prong of the Insurrection Act essentially covers a situation where civil unrest of some form or another has rendered it impracticable to use the usual justice system to enforce federal law. The third provision of the Insurrection Act, it allows the president to use troops to enforce the law, A, where statutory rights of a population are being systematically disregarded in a way that violates the Equal Protection Clause, or where there is an effort to kind of obstruct or interfere with the enforcement of federal law.
That is why I am taking immediate presidential action to stop the violence and restore security and safety in America. I am mobilizing all available federal resources, civilian and military.
How would the public know if the president did decide to move forward and invoke the Insurrection Act?
One of the most important protections built into the Insurrection Act is that the president cannot use it secretly. He must issue a public proclamation that's required by statute, invoking the Insurrection Act and specifying the reasons why he thinks the Insurrection Act and the use of federal military authority is necessary.
If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
The law is written in very broad and vague terms. The courts, generally speaking, have not decided cases arising under the Insurrection Act. Would President Trump's use of the law result in legal consequences? Right? Would it be treated as a violation of law? Would he be impeached? I don't think anyone knows, because this law is used so rarely.
The Constitution gives Congress, not the president, the authority to call forth the militia to suppress domestic unrest, particularly in situations where a state legislature has not requested that sort of federal support. It's not clear the federal government has an obligation to intervene in any way except where Congress thinks it's appropriate.